de Baja Post. De Baja Post.
Or international corporations have taken advantage of our position.
But they have taken advantage in a good sense or in a bad sense?
Of course, the good sense, because they've been able to complement their corporations, industry, to make them more competitive.
How did you get started in this industrial promotion thing? I guess it was electronics and it was bringing American companies over to Mexico.
It was, it's interesting because I went to Imperial Valley College. I attended that college. And at that point, I kind of spoke English better than other people. And this is why they were interested in my services as a young man. And I got involved with the industrial park here in Mexicali, and I started to deal with companies. I went down to Los Angeles, to different places in the United States to promote and to develop industry called maquiladoras.
That is a very special regime for economic entities coming over to Mexicali and having their production made and take it out of the country immediately. That has evolved, right?
What happened is that after World War II, a Marshall Plan was put into effect. That is to help Germany or Europe and Asia after the war to develop their industry. Our U.S. Customs Code 806-7, 806-30, and that permitted companies to go abroad to make assemblies or part of their manufacturing. And this is how we started the maquiladora industry here in Mexicali and in Mexico. It was at the border area.
So, did it take too much work to convince the government of such a scheme? Such a frame of work, right?
I can tell you a whole bunch of stories about that, but it wasn't easy because the Mexican government was against that type of industry because we depended from international companies. Second point is, the universities here, CETIS, UABC, University of State University, our staff or labor force wasn't really, it was more into farming than industry. So it's a process of adjusting all these factors.
So, bottom line, you brought IBEMSA to Mexicali. What was the name of? I don't remember. IESA. It was an electronic industry there, where Channel 66
EMSA.
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 That was the first maquila in Mexicali.
No. We started with textile industry.
Okay.
But they used to call it fly-by-nights because they were unstable. So we did a study to see what type of companies we should promote. And with an international, Ross international consulting firm, because we needed that name recognition in the world, corporate world.
Okay.
So we started to develop airspace industry, manufacturers of auto industry, metal mechanics, plastics, technology, all that. And EMSA was the first airspace industry set up here in Mexicali, Hughes Aircraft.
Did you start that company or did someone else? Who started that company?
It was Hughes Aircraft through Amado Avendaño, a executive director of the company. And no. I wasn't part of the company. I was part of the developing the company. A group of businessmen from Mexicali got together. We started promoting or developing industry.
So then companies started coming to Mexicali. And
It was a success story because it was very profitable. Quality was there. Labor cost was.
they were able to lower their costs, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the key of it. They make them more competitive. So we complemented the corporation Los Angeles Hughes Aircraft, and that was a success story that was followed by many other companies.
Okay, and then there were some organizations made to promote Mexicali as an industrial destiny, like CDIM, Comisión de Desarrollo Industrial de Mexicali, in Mexicali Industrial Development Commission.
Let me tell you, Alfredo, at that point we were clueless of what's going on with industry, how to promote industry. So I was part of the first Mexican, by the way, at University of Oklahoma, in getting certified as an industrial developer. And that's how we started with the Economic Development Board in Mexicali, CDI, as you mentioned.
And then, how did it start, the CDI?
It was
It was your idea? Whose idea was it?
It was Eduardo Martinez, was the former mayor of Mexicali, and he's the one that put it all together, was the architect of this organization. I was the operator of this organization, and there was success. Then suddenly we start getting calls from Tijuana and Ensenada and Tecate to do the same.
Okay.
But it was everything that happened was based on a what we call what type of companies we should promote, what type of activities according to Mexicali. Because at that point, talk about airspace industry, they told us, you're crazy. Mexicali is known for farming,
Agriculture, that's right.
not industry. But it's interesting.
So it was a big challenge to convince some people who had the money to invest to be aware that Mexicali is an industrial destination and is not only farming, right?
That's why we brought the most simplest process of the company. That's the not manufacturing, but assembly. We started with assembly, simple tasks of the company.
Okay.
Because we didn't have the technology, we didn't have the trained labor to face this growth.
Javier, and how? Let me go back a little bit to the fly-by-night companies that you were mentioning a few moments ago. How do you avoid bringing such companies to Mexicali? How do you
we had
survey that they are reliable?
Of course. That's a very interesting question, because what we did develop a kind of a screening process to see if the company was coming here because of financial problems, number two, because of labor problems, environmental problems. So we didn't want companies to come down here with a Chapter 11 on their neck. We wanted solid companies. So we had to screen the companies, and also protecting our labor was to ask three main questions. Why do you come to Mexicali? Are you running away from a labor company problem or financial problem? Second point, where are you going to be established? Are you going to be an industrial park or industry zoning of the city? Or are you going to have the environment for workers, the right environment, cafeteria, restrooms and all that, parking, name it.
Okay, so and taking over from what you just mentioned, when did Mexicali start growing industrial parks all over
It
the
was
city?
about in the 80s.
Uh-huh.
First of all, the industry, maquiladora industry started here by mid-70s.
Yeah.
But by 1980, we started bringing more companies. We were more well organized. The city. I thought by 2026 today we were going to be a completely developed city, which hasn't happened. Why? Because political reasons.
So when you let's go back a little back to the beginning. When you started thinking about bringing companies to Mexicali, people say that we were selling cheap labor. And maybe in the beginning it was that. But then how did we start developing specialized labor force?
Well, what happens is that the recent companies come here, or El Salvador, or Guatemala, or any part of in Africa or Asia, because of labor costs. That's the reason. We had to generate labor force. We didn't have we had a problem because the Acero program with the United States was canceled. So that generated or created a big problem for Mexicali of unemployment. So we needed to develop industry to bring it quick and to bring it fast enough to develop labor force.
Okay, so a name comes to mind, Olguita de Mexico.
That's textile.
That was textile, but that lasted for like
Yes,
20 or 30 years.
All these textile companies, like the Olga company, I think we should appreciate the fact that they were here.
They established the model for other companies to...
Because that brought the attention that it could be done with quality, with efficiency, and with price. We could compete. But textile also generated companies that were not so professional. So we had a fly-by-night. So that's what we called fly-by-night.
Yeah, they take the red-eye flights and they leave
They were
in
good.
the middle of the night.
They did help a
But
lot.
Olguita was a very serious company,
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken, right?
Of course.
And then many other companies started coming. There was a point in time, maybe 80s or 90s, that we were manufacturing TVs, aqualungs, golf clubs, safety glasses, etc. So we have been diversified, starting from that model, and we have grown a very big
Alfredo, let me tell you. When we started, there was no game plan. It was who comes. I don't care who comes. Just create jobs. That was the priority. Okay. So when we brought the companies here, we started organizing ourselves better. We went to University of Oklahoma. We went to the Industrial Park Association in the United States to learn how to bring companies and be more organized. In cities university, for instance, State University, they got involved, and though we also were more selective of the type of companies coming here, and we also contracted a company. We made a deal with Tuition Ross. We hired them, a consulting firm, international consulting firm that had a name recognition in the world. So it was expensive, but worthwhile, because that they told us exactly what type of companies to bring to Mexicali. So by then, we got away from we kept away from the textile company, and we concentrated on aerospace, automotive, technology, all that type of metal mechanics, all that type of company.
Okay, but what do you think is the strongest one? I think it's aerospace, or
No, you can't.
automotive,
no.
electronics?
No.
The biggest, the
I understand
I mean,
what you're
what's
saying.
the branch that has
We-
left more?
It's unfortunate to say, but I'm going to have to say
Uh-huh.
it. It's labor-intensive companies.
Uh-huh.
You know it, name it. It could be medical, it could be airspace, metal mechanics, sports, whatever. But unfortunately, it's labor-intensive.
Okay.
Because today at 2026, we still concentrate on bringing companies to generate more labor, not specialized labor. And that's sad because we have Cetis University, we have University of,
And we have very good technological high schools like Cebatis, Secati, etc. Okay, now, what do you think? What do you think? What was the moment when when investors or Mexicali promoters realized that there was a need of more specialized workforce?
always. This has been the case
Since the beginning.
It hasn't stopped since the beginning. We haven't stopped doing that. We still concentrate on bringing companies that are generate labor. We can't do that. We have to change to a different level now. We need
Okay.
to bring more manufacturing, more technology, so the universities could be more connected to development.
Okay. Javier, what's the ABC of promotion? I mean, if you were to promote Mexicali now and start from zero, what would you promote
First
right
of all,
now?
it's not promotion. Promoting is not the word.
Okay.
Developing is the word.
Developing. But you have to
Okay, I understand what you're saying.
to
Number one,
advertise us.
you have to have stability in the city.
Okay.
Number one, we have to have political stability.
And security.
And we don't, no. I'm
That's-
saying number one,
Okay.
that includes security, the safety, all that. No. But it has to be a country, a state, and a city with stability. Okay? And that includes, of course, security, labor force, whatever you have. Number two, the location. The geopolitical location of Mexicali or Ensenada or Baja California. It's good. In fact, it's an advantage in the world because we're next to $6 trillion economy, way north of us. California, Nevada, Arizona, all these states generate about $5-6 trillion economy.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea, Mexico generates $1.8 trillion, which is not bad, all Mexico. But in this area, our neighbor to the north generate $6 trillion.
Okay. Now, about the free trade agreement, what has happened a few weeks ago? What's happening? People think
first of all,
think it's over, but I guess it's not. What can you tell
This is
them?
my personal opinion, all right? First of all, let me clear something. The maquila industry has nothing to do with free trade agreement. The maquila was started before then using the 806, 807 Customs Code, U.S. Customs Code. I told you that. Before it. The free trade agreement is different, completely a different program. It's developed. The idea of the free trade agreement is to level the economy of Mexico with the United States.
In Canada.
It didn't happen. It didn't happen.
That would be very hard for Mexico because our capabilities are much lower than the Americans' capabilities regarding
That's why
education,
the free trade
industry.
agreement was generated.
But it was not successful.
But it wasn't. You know why? Because political reasons.
Okay.
Every 6 years, we lost continuity of the program. I was part of the. I'm honored to say it. I was part of the 1994 free trade agreement, the first one, and it's a business representing businessmen. But I tell you, it was a good idea, but it failed. Today, we can tell you that yes, it did help the economy and part of the economy, but not. We still have a tremendous difference of the economic factors of Mexico and the United States. For instance, labor. We're talking about 7 to 10 times as much labor minimum wage in the United States and Mexico. And you go on and on and on, and it failed.
Okay. Okay. And now to wrap it up, what are the expectations for the near future for the maquila in Mexicali or in regarding coming over more in?
This is my dream, because I lived 55 years developing industry, bringing companies from Japan, from Korea, from the United States, from France, from Europe. To me, the idea of a maquila, it's outdated. We need to concentrate on better manufacturing, and better jobs, and better opportunities for Mexico. And that means a higher level than just assembly, just maquiladoras. No more. I think we should concentrate on developing different levels of technology into our own industry.
Okay. The people from Index, the Maquila Association in Mexicali, Index Mexicali, they are worried because they don't see that they see we're not developing enough local suppliers for the foreign. What do you think? What is your personal take on that?
When we started the maquila industry, we had 2% of the whole manufacturer or assembly plant or corporation with Mexican supply, industrial supply. 2%. You know how it is? How much is it now in 2026?
How much?
2%.
Oh, so we haven't grown in that sense.
We haven't grown.
And that's very necessary because it's part of the benefits that we should be taking advantage of.
Part of the maquila industry was to teach us how to develop this type of industry that would supply the auto industry, the aerospace industry, and all that. But we didn't develop. The Mexican government failed completely in doing that. There's been some efforts, and I have to recognize it, but we haven't developed supplies, a chain of supplies, and that my index, as you call it,
is that the new name? When you were president, it was AYEMAC. You were president of AYEMAC, right?
Index, yeah.
34 years ago, they just changed the name.
When we started Index, which is the Maquiladora Association, it was mainly to help and guide and support labor in Mexicali in Mexicali. Let's talk about Mexicali. It didn't happen. We still have the same pattern of work as when we started the maquila industry. Number two, we tried to develop a program that had continuity from 55 years ago to now to 2026. It didn't happen. Why? Because the Mexican government, every 6 years, they lost continuity. And we weren't able to close the circle on that. So we still have a big challenge. And many of the companies, they don't come here because we don't have supplies. And
or they bring their own suppliers.
Is a good sample of that.
You said Toyota was going to leave because they have we have no offer of capable people who can welders,
trained
right?
people. Yeah. Now, Toyota, number one, 1980, we visited Toyota. 1980. Governor Roberto de la Madrid was key on this. He was the one that opened the opportunity for Toyota. We went to Tokyo in 1980, and we knocked at the door. We went to Korea, we went to LG, and we went to Daewoo and all these companies.
Right.
Don Roberto de la Madrid, Governor of Baja California, Romandía.
Okay, Javier, it's very interesting to talk to you and have this very, very interesting conversation, but I guess we should cut it right now because we have been talking a lot of time. But please...
let's do some capsules about that.
And then we are going to gather again like in a month or two and then see where it's going, where the situation is going. Thank you very much, Javier.
Thank you.
Baja Post.